at this point in this interview that he granted to RTB journalists on the night of April 26, 2024 from Bobo Dioulasso. The Burkinabe transitional president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, talks about the Alliance of Sahel States and its future, and on the matter, he reveals that there's a major unified force that Mali, Niger and Bukinafaso are working to establish, with the same being a force which will have unlimited sovereignty and autonomy over the three countries going into the future. Take a listen at what he had to say. Mr. President, let's now talk about military cooperation within the countries of the Alliance of Sahel States. What concrete actions have been undertaken since the creation of this alliance to combat terrorism on the ground? Thank you. There have been a lot of concrete actions, and it is very pleasing what is happening on the ground. It became one army. There are many actions that we can't even finish mentioning. The sister armies of Niger can find themselves carrying out missions of the Malian army, or the Burkinabe army. The Burkinabe army executes missions for the Malian army and the Nigerian army. The Malian army also carries out missions entrusted to them. Second thing, cooperation on the ground. The forces are mixed, and fight together very often, and sir, we are succeeding in this, especially in the border strip with Niger, where our forces are currently fighting side by side. In the field of air support, this is common. When we have a lot of operations and we are overwhelmed, we can call on the Nigerian vectors, or the Malian vectors to come and support us. When they need us, we go to support them, and in terms of borders, there are currently no borders. So, the Burkinabe vectors go back whenever they want, or if they are at the end of their autonomy, or if there's something they want to hand over to the Malian or Nigerian vectors. Likewise, they also come to our soil, and they do the research, that is it. And it's really going very well. There are a lot of things currently happening between our three armies, and the objective is to create, in the near future, an expeditionary brigade on behalf of the AES, which will therefore be able to carry out maneuvers in complete autonomy, everywhere in the AES space. We announced it, but now, the work is being done at the bottom to germinate the force. There is each step, and we are not necessarily going to come out and say that we are at this number, but everyone has received their instructions, and is working to put in place what they need to put in place. So, you will know at any given moment, precisely, will the countries have the financial and material means necessary for this force. This is what we have always been told, that we do not have the means. We had to look for the means elsewhere, and look today at what we have in Burkina. Someone lent us a franc, someone gave us something, but how many battalions had we equipped in 2022? And fast forward, how many battalions have we equipped? We had an operational battalion, because there were at least 4 or 5 operational companies which were equipped, which could go out independently. It's a reality. On top of that, it was the special forces, the clearing guys maybe. They were the ones who had the means to be projected at the same time. The rest, they didn't have the means, so we sat down, and when there was an operation, we had to collect the data, because it's hard to equip, it's complicated. This is so true. If we manage well, there is the possibility of equipping. This is also what we blamed, this is all that revolted us. But we also had things in our heads. It's difficult to acquire weapons, it's expensive, and so, we took our courage in both hands, and faced reality. They put obstacles in our way to prevent us from equipping ourselves. You are aware of this. I have said it several times. But today, we have more than 20 equipped battalions that can be deployed at any minute. That means when we tell the 20 battalions to start in a certain direction, they don't need anyone to come and give them something, they start. So we can equip this force. Look at the Malian armies, look at the Nigerian armies. The last time you saw the equipment from Niger, which passed through here, to get to Niger. So, we can equip ourselves, we don't need support.
Mr. President, today, what assessment do you make of the progress of the war against terrorism?
The assessment is that it takes a long time to tackle, so I have just explained to you where we've come from. I would say not zero, but in any case there was not anything substantial to wage war on. Today, we can contain the threat, that's one thing. The army has more or less regained its ability to fight. No soldier is going to go to the front today without a weapon. He is not going to go without means of protection, that's frozen helmets and stuff. The ammunition and others, all these VDPs, the mirage has changed, and that means that we have occupied more of the ground. There are many areas where we did not have presence of a force, where there is a presence today, and it is good when the presence also joins the populations. So, that is a major step forward, and now the reorganization of the army to adapt it to current realities is also a major step forward. This is all that allows us to achieve results on the ground, but we cannot, perhaps we do not have the time to go into detail, point by point, at the risk of going back to things we had already said. So there are still a lot of things that have been done.